Much like ourselves, the Thai dessert I'm going to share with you today has many layers. It's a strawberry and coconut steamed layered rice cake, also known as kanom chan. Now these layers are a lot like my layers. They're soft, squidgy, and really fun to eat. Just ask my man. He really likes this dessert. It's really easy to make, but it does require a little bit of patience, okay? There's just a lot of mixing and waiting in this recipe. First mixing we have to take care of is the sweet coconut base. So I have some full-fat coconut milk here. I'm gonna add it to the saucepan along with some water. And sugar, I just have plain granulated sugar. I just have plain granulated sugar. If you can get your hands on coconut palm sugar, even better. Just heat this up on very low heat. You just want to get it warm enough to get the sugar dissolved, okay? So whisk it up, and when you no longer feel any of those regulated granules, then you could just pull it off the heat. Typically, this dessert has green and white layers because there's pandan juice extract and some jasmine extract. Really delicious flavors, but I kind of like the simplicity of coconut and some strawberry. Also, it may be easier for you to find strawberry, so if you want to play around with the flavors, go ahead and do it. This is ready. I'm going to divide this into 2 bowls. You could measure this out or weigh them. I ain't got time for that. So just eye it out, make sure they're evenly divided. I might need to come down here. That'll do. There are 2 layers here, the pink one and the white one. So for the white one, just leave it as is. And then in this bowl, I'm gonna add the flavoring in the form of strawberry jam. I recommend using jam or maybe some freeze-dried strawberries that you pulverize because it has a nice deep strawberry flavor. As you can see, that jam was very liquidy. I just microwaved it for 20-30 seconds just to get it nice and melted so that's easy to stir. This isn't really a pink color, so I'm gonna add a little bit of red food coloring. You just need a little dot. You can always add a little more. I don't want it too red, but just a little pink to get it started. Isn't that a pretty color? It's like a pastel-y pink. Next, the dry ingredients. I've got 2 flours here. This is glutinous or sticky rice flour, and this is tapioca flour. Now, the rice flour is what's gonna give this dessert a soft mochi-like consistency, and the tapioca will help hold it together, give it a little gloss, a little shine, and help make the layers peelable. In 2 separate bowls, divide the flour mixtures evenly amongst the 2 bowls. Rice flour here, the rest of the rice flour here, half of the tapioca in one, the rest of it in the other one. Make sure you whisk up the flours so they're well combined. Woo! White powder in the air. Don't want to sniff that stuff up. Make sure your coconut milk mixture is cooled before this step because if you add hot liquid to tapioca flour, it's gonna cook, it's gonna clump up, it's not gonna be good. So we want very smooth batters here. I'm gonna slowly incorporate the wet into the dry while using my hands. You could use a whisk, but when I use whisks, they always leave little clumps. And so this way with your hands, you could feel the batter, make sure all the clumpy clumps are out. And with your hands, you could feel the sides and just scrape any unmixed flour. White batter done. Now for the pink one, just repeat the same exact steps. Ooh, this looks like I'm making bubblegum. I'm ready to steam. In this pot, I have a little bit of water, and inside I place this little steamer insert. It just has some legs, so it's not directly touching the water. And it allows me to place my container inside. You could use a steamer pot, whatever you have. Usually when you're steaming, condensation will build up on the lid and then drip down onto your food. Now, in this case, you don't want that to happen. So a little trick for that is to grab a clean kitchen towel, place it over just like this. Then you just take a little tie, gather it up. That way, instead of dripping from the lid, it'll just soak into the fabric. You don't have to worry about it. Just make sure all the fabric is held tight together so it's not touching your burner. Do not cause a fire. This is the container I'm going to make my konomchan in. It is a small 4x4. All I'm gonna do is spray it and lube it up with some coconut spray. You don't have to use coconut spray, use any oil you have. This is to ensure that you can release your dessert easily later. Place your container inside your steamer so that it can heat up thoroughly. To make even layers, you gotta make sure that you scoop an even amount of batter from each color. So I have 2 1/3 cup measuring cups here. I also inserted a spoon in each bowl because before you grab the batter, you should mix it up and then scoop it out. The first layer you're gonna pour should be the color you wanna see at the top. So I wanna see pink. Pour that layer, make sure it reaches all the edges. Cover it up and let that steam for 5 minutes. Don't open it, don't try to peek at it, leave it alone. Let's take a peek. Okay, you know it's ready for the next layer. Be careful, steam is hot. Who knew? You can give it a quick check that the first layer is all set. It's no longer liquidy. It's ready for the next layer. Okay, now cover that up. And let that go steam for 5 minutes again, and then alternate the layers. So pink is gonna go next, 5 minutes, white again, and repeat the process. I've got 7 lucky layers in here. Actually, the traditional number to be really lucky and auspicious is 9. So if you could get 9 layers in, good. If not, no worries. This recipe can make 2 batches of 4x4 containers. So just let this cook for 10 minutes now, okay? You've cooked all the other layers at 5. Let this really cook through and then we can pull it out. Showtime, baby. Now, this is all cooled down. You can use a knife or just your fingers to pull it away from the edge. Make sure that it's released. Just flip it over onto a cutting board. I do this with a little bit of aggression. Gonna need some more aggression. It's a wiggler. To serve this up, just cut it into little squares. I just oiled up a knife. Just go straight through. And there you have it, strawberry and coconut steamed layered rice cake. I can't stop jiggling it. Now this is the fun part, separating the layers. Watch this. Ooh, so much fun. That's my kind of dessert. It's not too sweet. You taste a little hint of strawberry and coconut. Oh, and such a fun texture. I really hope you give this a try. I'll see you next time. Bye.